Welcome back. My name is Steiner. I used to have -5 diopter high myopia. I reversed all of that myopia. Back to 20/20 eyesight, no LASIK, no eye exercises, no vitamins, no nonsense. More of that links below. Let's talk about healthy screens. This is a topic that has come up in our forum today, and it's something that I'm feeling compelled to answer because there is no such thing as healthy screens. That's like asking, what is the healthiest type of pizza, or what is the healthiest type of Coca-Cola? The word healthy does not fit in that sentence, right? Like, there's maybe the least unhealthy or the best choice among not great choices. Screens are a compromise. Screens cause eye strain. Screens will cause your eyesight to get worse if you spend too much time in front of them. There is no such thing as a quote-unquote healthy screen. Now, if you're looking for answers for this though, if you're typing this into Google, if you're watching this video and you're wondering which one of these screens is the least bad for my eyesight, some very, 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 very simple rules. First of all, most of the marketing hype about blue light filters and no anti-flicker and unicorn farming, whatever types of stuff that manufacturers put in their promotional material for screens, ignore it. Again, that goes back to the healthiest type of pizza. The problem is the pizza. The problem is a screen. Any type of screen is fundamentally not going to change the fact that a screen will be straining your eyesight. To reduce the amount of that, because we all use screens, first of all, handheld small screens are the worst thing. It doesn't matter if it's OLED or LCD or what the refresh rates are, it doesn't matter, because the first thing, the main thing that causes eye strain is proximity, right? The closer you hold the screen to your eyes, the more the ciliary, the focusing muscle in your eyes tense, the more you're gonna get eye strain, the more that muscle is going to stay tense, the more it's going to affect your short-term and possibly long-term distance vision. So the closer the screen is, doesn't matter the type or quality of screen, the worse it is. And the two factors there are size and handheld. The smaller the screen, the closer it's going to creep to your eyes. It just will, right? So getting a larger screen, like an iPad instead of an iPhone, is going to mitigate some of that close-up creep, or it'll be easier to control at least, right? So my first recommendation would be, don't consume content on a smartphone screen. I don't ever. I used to, I stopped doing that, right? Smartphone only for messages, emergencies, checking maps, real short stuff. Other than that, I switch at least to an iPad-sized screen. Doesn't matter how new it is, doesn't matter how fancy it is, doesn't matter what the screen specs are. The size is the number one thing. Number two, handheld. If you can get away from handheld media consumption, you're already ahead of the game, because again, even though the screen is bigger, your maximum distance is going to be what you're comfortably holding at arm's length or less than arm's length distance, which is not a great distance. Remember, again, it's the focusing muscle in your eye. It's tenser. The more tense, the more close, the more tense it gets. So distance is key. If you're watching content at a TV distance, already much better, because your ciliary muscle is going to be less tense. If at least you have a laptop on a desk, already much better. If you're setting up a scenario, you're watching Netflix in bed, where at least it's an iPad on a stand at some distance away from you, anything is better than handheld, right? So the first thing is, little screens are a no-no. At least something that you want to eliminate as much as possible. And then the second thing is getting away from handheld. In that progression, right? Like if you're skipping small screens, but you're still holding screens handheld, it's better than the small screen. If you're getting away from handheld, that much better. Notice here that the quality or type of screen hasn't entered the discussion because it's of no consequence. Now, as with everything that I talk about, don't take my word for anything. The thing you can do very easily is before and after centimeter measurements. And if you're not familiar with this, links below. Compare how far you can see clearly before and after your screen use, right? Like if you spend 2 hours watching Netflix on your phone, print out an eye chart, hang it up on the wall, see how your eye chart measurements compare before and after, you're going to notice a degradation, and you're going to notice more degradation with a smaller screen than a larger screen at a better distance, right? So you can measure these things. And ultimately, when your question is this a better screen for my eye than this other screen, is the real answer is measure your centimeter before and after, measure your eye chart before and after, go outside and have a distant landmark like a street sign across the street that's challenging to read, measure it before and after. That will definitively tell you whether in your specific case, the screen use, whether it's the type of screen or the screen distance or your environment with the screen, makes a difference to your eyesight. It's not specs. It's not a general review on the internet of some screen or another screen. Is how does this screen affect your eyesight? Measure it. It is always the best way to not be guessing whether some screen or another screen is less bad for your eyesight than another. Going past that, the OLED, LCD, refresh rates, flicker, newer screens are generally better. I mean, like everything that's come out in the last couple of years is fantastic, relatively speaking. If you're staying away from the super low-end stuff, probably better. Beyond that, in my admittedly anecdotal review of various screens, and I own a ton of screens, I have not noticed any meaningful difference from one to the other. That said, things like Kindles, these paper screens that don't have a backlight, definitely better. For me personally, and for the people I've talked to, makes a difference for book reading. Realistically, do I carry one of those things around rather than just an iPad, read books on iPad? Unfortunately, I will just carry the iPad. I notice my eyes are happier if I don't do that. In a practical sense, I'm not making that distinction because I'm not carrying the extra thing around, and I'm not charging the extra thing, and I'm not loading books on the extra thing anymore. Because while it makes a difference, it's not enough of a difference for me personally to warrant all the extra effort. And that's another thing, that if you're overdoing it now with trying to aim for perfection, if the habit is difficult to maintain, you're less likely to maintain it. Right? You're more likely to go from the Kindle all the way back to your phone because the Kindle's a pain and the phone's in your pocket. If you have an intermediate solution that is more convenient while less perfect but easier to maintain, that's the correct solution, right? For the rest of it, if you clicked on this looking for a specific recommendation for some high-end fancy screen, if you need an excuse, if you need absolution to spend more money on a screen, by all means, I have a 16-inch Mac, whatever, laptop that I love much more than a 13-inch because it's a larger screen, because I tend to move it away a little bit further, because you need less closeness of the screen to get the same amount of experience of screen size. Better. I think it's better. It was worth it to me to spend the extra money. As soon as I started using it, I was like, this is a revelation. I'm more comfortable having the screen further away from me. As is the case with increasing screen sizes to an extent regardless. Hopefully useful. Don't fall for the marketing hype. We talk about blue light blocking glasses and all that stuff in other videos. Those are not the issues, right? The issue is how much time do you spend staring at the thing versus how much time do you spend looking at real actual life and enjoying real actual life and looking at distant objects and just not consuming media in front of a screen. If you like this, if you like these, give it a thumbs up. Let me know. More focused right now on podcast episodes, which you'll also find more focused specifically on vision improvement. But from time to time, I'll try to make these as they come up as well. That's it for this one. See you in the next one.